Assalamu alaikum. Hope you all are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. Now, I am going to teach you changing sentence from active into passive. Today, we shall learn how to change WH question from active into passive. In the previous class, we came to learn how to change yes no question from active into passive. Now we shall learn WH question from active into passive. Do you know how many WH words? You must know that there are 9 WH words and there are 2 types of WH words. Look at the board. WH word. WH word. What do you mean by WH word? WH word refers to where, when, why, how. Another group, who, whose, whom, which, and what. These 9 words. Where, when, why, how. These 4 WH words are adverb. And who, whose, whom, why, which, what. These 5 WH words belong to pronoun. To make passive voice, WH adverb where, when, why and how will not be changed, but WH pronoun who, whose, whom, which and what will be changed. Then for WH adverb, you should remember that like yes no question, as WH adverb has the relation with main verb. So to change from active into passive, we should follow the rules of yes no question. For example, WH word. Then where, when, why and how. Will not be changed. Where, when, why and how. The 4 WH adverb will not be changed. For example, active and passive. Where, will, you, me, main verb, me, will, auxiliary verb, you subject, me, object. And in the beginning of the sentence, there is a WH adverb where. Where will not be changed, but it will sit in the beginning of the sentence without any change. Where is where? no sense of fire. Fire, fire. But you will make passive. Will you meet me? Then will is auxiliary verb. You can use will or shall. Then me will be subject. Me will be I. Then to be and main, to be and past participle. As will, shall, will, can, may, should, would, must, ought to, have to, has to. These are modal auxiliary verb. So you should use be. After modal, we should use be in passive voice. Will I be met? M-E-T, met, by you. Not of interrogation. Fire is unsensed. Fire is fire. Then, will you meet me? This is like yes no question. At first W is word, W at first positive verb, will. Then objects, subject, then be, and past participle of main verb, met, be met. Be because will is a modal auxiliary verb. Will I be made by you, object, you. Again, active and passive. Why do you disturb me? Why do you disturb me? Here, why? Why is why? Unsensed why. Then, do you disturb me? Like the yes no question, do will be omitted. Do. Auxiliary do will be omitted from passive voice. And according to do, this sentence will be regarded as present tense. So you should use am or is or are. What will you use? As me will be I, subject, then you should use am. Am, then me will be I, disturbed. Past participle. By you. Understand? Why do you disturb me? At first, why? Then, according to do, auxiliary do, you should use to be verb. Am, because me will be subject, I. So we use am. Am I? Then past participle main verb, disturbed. Then by and subject, you. Another example. How? How? How is he doing it? How is he doing it? At first, you will use WZ verb in the beginning of the sentence without any change. How? Then, auxiliary verb is. At first, auxiliary verb. Then, object will be subject, it. Then, according to main verb, you should use to be and verb past participle. Doing is verb plus ing. So, you use being, being. Then, past participle, done. Then, by him. How is he doing it? How is it being done by him? The sentences beginning with W said verb is similar to yes no question, but if there is WS pronoun in the beginning of the sentence, then you should follow some extraordinary rules. Now I shall clean the board. What? At first, what is a pronoun? What plus auxiliary plus subject plus verb plus object. Other words and auxiliary verb. Note of interrogation. At first, what? Object. Then auxiliary verb. Then subject, verb, and other words. Note of interrogation. What is object? But in passive voice, what will be subject? What? What is object in active voice? But in passive voice, what is subject? Then auxiliary verb. Then, according to main verb, to be. You should use to be and past participle of main verb. Then by and subjects. At first, what? What is what? Subject what and object what? Then auxiliary verb. Then to be and past participle. According to main verb, you should use a to be verb and past participle. Then by and subjects object. For example, what is he doing? Yeah. What is he doing here? In this sentence, what is object? He is subject. So what? Object. In passive voice, what will be subject? What? Then auxiliary verb is main verb doing, verb plus ing. So you should use being done. Being done by him. Another example. What do you want? What do you want? What? Object. Do auxiliary verb. Use subject. Want main verb. At first, object will be subject. What? What is what? Then do is auxiliary verb in this sentence, and you should remember that in passive voice, auxiliary do will be omitted from the sentence. There will no do or does or did in passive voice, and according to do or does or did, you should write to be verb. Do is present tense, so you should use am, is, are. What is? Then past participle of main verb, wanted. by you. Do will be omitted. According to do, you should use a to be verb, am or is or are. If there is did, then you should use was or were. Then past participle of main verb, then by, then subjects will be object. For object what will be subject what. Now sentence beginning with whom. Whom or who. Whom or who. Object. Then auxiliary verb, subject, verb, main verb, and other words. If there is whom or who object in the active voice, then passive voice, in passive voice, you should use who as subject. Object will be subject. Whom will be subject, who. Or who may be subject or object. Who will be who. Then auxiliary verb and to be and main verb. According to main verb, you should use to be and verb past participle. Then by and subjects objects. For example, whom is she calling? Whom is she calling? At the beginning of the sentence, whom, W word, and it is object of the sentence. Is auxiliary verb, she subject, calling main verb. Then whom, object whom will be subject, who. Then auxiliary verb, calling is main verb. It is verb plus ing. So we should use being, being called by her. Whom is she calling? Whom object will be subject, who. Auxiliary verb is, then being according to main verb, calling verb plus ing. So you use being called, being plus verb past participle. Then by and subjects objects. Who, who do you, who do you, who do you help? Who do you help? Here, help is main verb. So you subject, do auxiliary verb. Then this who is object who. Object who will be subject in passive voice. Who will be who. Then according to do, does and did, you should use to be verb and auxiliary verb in the sentence. is. Past participle of main verb helped by you. Do will be omitted from the sentence as do, does, and did. If do, does, and did are used as auxiliary verb in active voice, then do, does, and did will be omitted from the sentences when we make it passive voice. And according to do, does, and did, we should use a to be verb. Am, is, are, was, or were. And main verb will be always past participle. Who do you help? Who is helped by you? Who may be subject or object? You should know. Then, who may be subject? Then what should we do? If who is subject, subject who, then auxiliary may be auxiliary or not. Subject plus no. Verb plus object. At first, who used as subject. Main verb. After main verb, there is object. At first, subject who will be changed into by plus object. By whom? If the sentence, if the WH question begins with who as subject, then we should use by whom in the beginning of the passive voice. By whom. Then auxiliary plus object subjects. Objects, subjects, then to be and verb past participle. Other words, note of interrogation at last. W's question begins with who as subject, and this who will be changed into by whom in passive voice. You may use by whom. Then auxiliary verb, given auxiliary verb may be changed. Then objects will be subjects. Then to be verb and verb past participle. According to main verb, you should use to be and past participle. For example, who can do it? Who can do it? In this sentence, do is main verb, it object. So, can auxiliary verb, modal auxiliary verb, and who is subject? So, as who, subject. So, we should use by whom. Then auxiliary verb, can, object will be subject, it, as can is modal, so we should use be, and past participle, done. Can you understand? Who can do it? Who will be changed into by who. Then auxiliary verb, object subject, then to be and verb past participle. To be according to main verb. But if can modal plus verb, then we use modal plus be plus verb past participle. Another example. There may not be any auxiliary verb. Who helps? Who helped you? Who helped you? Help subject, help main verb, you object, and who subject. There is no auxiliary verb. Subject who will be by whom. By whom. Help past tense. So we should use was or were. And in passive voice, you will be subject. So we should use were. Where you helped. Whom, by whom are you helped? I think you can understand changing W's question from active into passive. Now, for your homework, I shall give you some sentence. You will change the sentence from active into passive. Homework. For your homework, when will you do it? What did you want? Who helps you? Whom are you calling? Why do you memorize? Answer. Thank you today. See you next class. Assalamu alaikum.